Okay, let's unpack this. You bring home a good paycheck, the bills are covered. Yet, when you peek at your savings, it's like nothing there. Tumbleweeds. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, absolutely. If it does, you are definitely not alone.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. A 2024 PwC report found that over 60% of employees, and that includes folks with pretty comfortable salaries, are basically living paycheck to paycheck.
It's staggering, really.
So the big question is, why? Why has saving become such a struggle for so many of us?
Exactly. Why is building that financial cushion, that safety net, so challenging right now? And that's what this deep dive is all about, drawing from the Overcoming Saving Failure article on SideBySide.
Right.
Our goal today isn't just to, understand the obstacles, but actually to give you practical strategies, things you can use to finally break free from that cycle.
Okay.
And a key insight from the article, your biggest financial hurdle often isn't the math, it's what's going on in your head. Understanding those behavioral biases, that's really the first step.
That makes sense. So we're going to explore the psychological quirks that trip us up, right?
Yep. And the societal, the economic currents that are kind of working against us.
Plus the common mistakes, the things we all do sometimes that derail our best intentions.
And most importantly, the proven methods, the tried and true stuff, but also some new tools that can help make saving a real sustainable habit.
Okay, good. So where do we start? Maybe zoom out a bit.
Yeah, let's look at the bigger picture for a second. How did we even get here? To a point where saving feels like climbing a mountain for so many. The SideBySide article touches on this big shift in how society sees and interacts with money.
Right. I remember reading that part. It paints this picture of like maybe our grandparents' generation, where being thrifty was, well, a virtue, something to be proud of.
Exactly. Saving for the future, avoiding debt. That was pretty standard stuff, especially, after tough economic times.
But today,
yeah,
it feels like we're playing a totally different game.
We really are. And the article points to a combination of factors driving this change. One huge one is the explosion of easy credit.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Think about it. Credit cards offering points and rewards, those buy now, pay later options everywhere you look online.
So tempting.
Even instant digital loans just a few taps away on your phone. It's made spending incredibly frictionless. That's the word they use.
Frictionless spending. Like, it's almost too easy to spend money you don't quite have yet.
Precisely. It feels easier to borrow than to consciously put money aside sometimes.
And the pressure to spend, it's just constant, isn't it? Marketing messages everywhere.
Absolutely bombarded. Clever marketing telling us we need the latest phone or we deserve that amazing vacation right now. It really plays on our desire for immediate gratification.
It really does.
And connect that to the cultural influence of social media. That's another big piece the article mentions.
The curated perfection online.
Right. This constant stream of seemingly perfect, often very expensive lifestyles. It fuels that instant gratification urge and what the article calls lifestyle envy.
Lifestyle envy. Yeah, I can see that. It makes you feel like you're falling behind if you're not keeping up appearances.
It's a really powerful force pushing us towards spending, maybe more than we realize.
Okay, so there's easy credit, constant marketing, social media pressure, and then you layer on the economic reality, which, let's be honest, haven't exactly helped.
Not at all. The SideBySide piece highlights a critical issue: stagnant wages. For many people, pay just hasn't kept up with the rising costs of the basics.
Housing, education, healthcare, the big things.
Exactly. It creates this real financial squeeze, making it genuinely hard to find extra money to save. Plus, you have to consider global financial instability, things happening worldwide.
And the gig economy, right.
Yeah.
Lots of people working project to project.
Yeah, the challenges there are unique. Unpredictable income, often no traditional benefits like retirement plans or health insurance, makes planning and saving much trickier.
It's a tough environment. And the article brings up something else that feels crucial but maybe gets overlooked. Financial literacy. Or the lack thereof.
Yes, and the stats are, pretty sobering. That 2023 OECD report mentioned suggests over half of adults don't really grasp basic financial concepts.
The compound interest. Or inflation.
Exactly. Compound interest, how your money can grow over time, earning returns on the returns. It's like that snowball effect.
Right.
Or inflation, how the value of your money slowly decreases over time. Without understanding these fundamentals, it's much easier to, spend more than you earn, mishandle debt, or just not plan effectively for the future.
It raises a good question. How can we expect people to prioritize saving if they don't fully get the long-term benefits or the risks of not saving.
It becomes a bit of a vicious cycle, doesn't it? Lack of understanding leads to maybe less than ideal choices, which makes saving even harder.
Okay, so we've got the big picture. Societal shifts, economic pressures, maybe some knowledge gaps. Now, let's dive into our own heads. The article talks about these psychological traps that sabotage our saving efforts. Because it seems like these external forces are tough enough, but then we make it harder on ourselves.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. The article really emphasizes that saving is as much about our behavior, our psychology, as it is about the numbers on a spreadsheet.
Okay.
And one of the biggest behavioral factors is something called present bias.
Present bias. Is that like the I'll start saving next month thing?
That's exactly it. You've nailed it. The article uses examples like thinking, YOLO, I deserve this treat now, versus thinking about, say, retirement security way down the road.
Our brains just seem wired for the immediate reward.
Totally. We tend to heavily discount future benefits in favor of immediate pleasure. That coffee today feels much more real than a bigger savings balance in 10 years. It's this constant internal tug of war.
Okay, present bias. Got it. What else?
Then there's the sneaky one, lifestyle creep, or lifestyle inflation.
Ah, yes. I think we can all relate to this one. You get a raise, maybe a small bonus.
And suddenly, things that used to be wants start feeling a bit more like needs.
Yeah, like, oh, I can afford a slightly better phone plan now. Or maybe we can eat out one more time a week.
And it happens so gradually. That's the thing. The article calls it silent budget erosion. Each little upgrade, a nicer car, a bigger apartment, more subscriptions seems justified on its own.
But add them all up.
And they completely absorb any potential increase in savings. Your expenses just gently rise to meet your new income.
It's like running faster on a treadmill but staying in the same place financially.
Yeah.
Okay, so present bias, lifestyle creep. The article also mentions something a bit heavier. Fear and avoidance around finances.
Yes. This is a big one for some people. Just the thought of looking at their bank account or credit card statements can trigger anxiety or shame or guilt.
That feeling of, I don't even want to know?
Exactly. Fear of confronting maybe a difficult reality or fearing the changes they might need to make. But as the article points out, avoiding it usually just makes the problem worse down the line.
Like ignoring a check engine light in your car. It won't fix itself.
Pretty much. And finally, there's decision fatigue. This one really hit home for me.
Me too. After a long day, making choices at work, figuring out dinner, the last thing you want is to meticulously track your spending or make another decision about saving.
That's precisely it. Our willpower isn't infinite. It gets depleted. After making tons of decisions all day, our ability to resist an impulse buy or make a rational financial choice later on can be seriously weakened.
So you're more likely to just order takeout instead of cook or click buy now on something you don't really need.
Making it much harder to stick to a budget or prioritize saving when your mental energy is running low.
Okay, wow. So those are some powerful psychological forces at play. Now let's get practical. What are some of the actual real-world mistakes the article highlights that keep people stuck?
Right. Moving from the why to the what. The side-by-side article points out several very common, often linked mistakes. And maybe the biggest one, the most fundamental, not having a budget, or even if you have one, not actually tracking where your money goes.
It sounds basic, but it's huge, right?
Yeah.
Like trying to navigate without a map or GPS.
Exactly. You might have a vague idea, but you'll probably get lost. The article talks about those invisible costs, the daily coffees, the small subscriptions.
The death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, they add up without you even noticing. And also underestimating your fixed costs or forgetting about those bills that only come once or twice a year.
Property taxes, insurance renewals, things like that.
Without a clear picture, it's basically impossible to see where you could cut back and save more. The solution the article suggests is simple but effective. Track your spending.
Use an app, a spreadsheet, whatever works for you.
Right. Apps like YNAB or Every Dollar Get Mentioned, or even just a simple spreadsheet. The key is giving every dollar or rupee or whatever your currency is a specific job. That accountability is powerful.
Okay, so budgeting and tracking is number one. What's another big pitfall?
Not having an emergency fund. This one is critical.
We've all probably learned this the hard way at some point, haven't we?
I think so. Unexpected things happen. That's just life. A car breaks down, you get sick, maybe lose your job.
Right.
Without that cushion, that emergency fund, you're often forced into high-interest debt. Credit cards, payday loans.
Which just digs the hole deeper.
Exactly. It traps you in that cycle. The article's advice here is really practical. Start small. Aim for a mini emergency fund first, maybe just a few $100s.
Takes the pressure off trying to save thousands immediately.
Totally. Then gradually build towards that goal of having 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses saved up. It makes it feel much less daunting.
Makes sense. The article also drew a really interesting distinction between relying on motivation versus building systems.
Ah, yes. This is a crucial insight. Motivation. Well, it's unreliable, isn't it? It ebbs and flows.
Some days you feel really fired up to save. Other days, not so much.
Exactly. Relying only on willpower to save consistently, it's often a recipe for frustration. The article really hammers home the power of automation.
Setting up automatic transfers.
Yes. Setting up an automatic transfer from your checking account to a separate savings account on payday. It takes the decision-making out of it.
Removes the temptation to spend it first.
It becomes automatic, like paying a bill. Saving transforms from something you try to remember to do into just part of your routine, non-negotiable.
I like that. One less decision helps with that decision fatigue too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And one last big mistake the article covers is that common habit of trying to save whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month.
Which, let's be real, is often zero or close to it.
That's the trap. The article introduces the pay yourself first principle as the antidote.
So flipping the script.
Completely. Prioritize saving. Treat it like a bill. Set aside a predetermined amount right when you get paid before you start spending on other things. Saving becomes the priority, not the afterthought.
Okay, that's a powerful mindset shift. Pay yourself first. So we know the pitfalls. Now, for the good part, the solutions. What are the effective strategies the article outlines for actually building that saving habit? Where does someone start?
The side-by-side article really emphasizes starting with clear goals, specifically setting smart saving goals.
SMART goals, I've heard of this. Specific, measurable.
Achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah.
It gives you clarity and direction.
So instead of just, I need to save more, it's like, I will save $5,000 for a car down payment in the next 12 months. Much more concrete.
Exactly. It makes it tangible. And breaking down those big goals into smaller, maybe monthly or weekly targets makes it feel less overwhelming, much more achievable.
And the relevant part is important too, right? Making sure the goal actually matters to you.
Absolutely. Aligning your savings goals with your personal values gives you that deeper motivation to stick with it when things get tough.
Okay, SMART goals. Good starting point. What else? The article mentions the 50-30-20 rule.
Yes, as a simple budgeting framework. It's a great guideline, especially if you're new to budgeting.
How does it work again?
Roughly, you allocate your after-tax income, 50% for needs, rent, groceries, essential bills.
The must-haves.
Right. Then about 30% for wants, dining out, hobbies, entertainment, the fun stuff.
Okay.
And crucially, the remaining 20% goes towards savings. That includes your emergency fund, investments, maybe extra debt payments.
And it's flexible.
Yeah, the article stresses that. It's a guideline. You might need to adjust it based on your income, your housing costs, your specific situation. Maybe your needs are 60% right now. That's okay. The point is having a structure.
I like that. Clear, but adaptable. The article also suggested making saving more fun, using saving challenges.
Yeah, gamifying it a bit. It can really help. Things like a no-spend month where you cut out all non-essential spending.
Ooh, tough, but potentially very effective.
Or the 52-week challenge where you save $1 the first week, $2 the second, and so on. It ramps up gradually.
Makes it less intimidating at the start.
Exactly. And it mentioned roundup apps too, like Capital or Digit, though it notes they're mainly US-based. The idea is they round up your purchases to the nearest dollar and save the change automatically.
Passive saving. Every little bit helps.
It really does add up over time.
Now, something very relevant for 2025. High-yield savings accounts. The article mentioned potential interest rates are actually decent right now, up to 5% in some places.
Yeah, that's a significant point for right now. In an environment where inflation is still a concern, letting your savings just sit in a regular account means it's losing value.
Right.
A high-yield savings account offers a way to potentially counteract some of that erosion and actually see some real growth. The key, the article advises, is to shop around.
Look for good rates, low fees.
Minimal or no fees, make sure it's insured, like FDIC in the US, and check the access rules. Some higher yield accounts might have penalties if you need to pull the money out early.
Good points. And finally, the article mentioned the power of community, accountability.
Don't underestimate this one. Sharing your goals with trusted friends or family, joining an online savings group.
or even following finance influencers who motivate you. It mentioned Ramit Sethi, the budget mom, Ali Abdaal.
Exactly. That social element, knowing you're not alone, getting encouragement, it can make a huge difference in staying on track.
Okay, these are great strategies. Now, things are always changing. What about new tools and tech? The article touched on the evolving landscape of saving in 2025.
Yeah, technology is definitely playing a bigger role. AI-powered budgeting apps are a big one.
Like Clio, Monarch Money. Maybe a future YMB 2.0, as the article speculated.
Right. These apps are getting smarter. They're moving beyond just tracking what you spent. They can analyze your patterns, predict future spending.
Suggest personalized saving targets.
Exactly. And even send you alerts if you're about to overspend in a certain category. It's like having a mini financial coach in your pocket.
That sounds incredibly useful. The article also mentioned embedded finance. Sounds technical, but what does it mean for saving?
Basically, it means financial tools are being built right into other apps and platforms you already use. So your bank app might automatically round up your purchases and save the difference.
Oh, like those roundup features we talked about, but maybe more integrated?
Yeah, or algorithms that notice when you've had a lower spending week and automatically sweep a little extra into savings for you. It makes saving more seamless, more automatic.
Almost effortless.
Nice. What else is emerging?
Micro-investing platforms are becoming more popular. They let you invest really small amounts, like spare change.
Yeah.
It lowers the barrier to entry for investing.
Makes investing feel less intimidating for beginners.
Definitely. And also social saving pots.
Yeah.
This taps into that community idea again. Tools that let families or friends save together for a shared goal.
Like a group vacation fund or saving for a down payment together.
Exactly. Leveraging that social accountability and shared purpose through tech.
Cool. So lots of innovation happening. Now, the article did a good job acknowledging that sometimes just trying harder to save isn't the whole story. It raised some important counterpoints. Yes, and that's crucial for a realistic perspective. For someone on a genuinely low income, the advice to simply save 20% might be impossible or incredibly stressful.
Right. You can't save money you don't have.
Exactly. In those situations, the article rightly suggests the focus might need to shift first. Look at ways to increase income side hustles, new skills, freelance work.
And tackling high-interest debt first.
Yes, paying down high-interest debt is often key. And exploring any available subsidies, aid programs, or social safety nets. The priority shifts when income is severely constrained.
That makes sense. It also brought up hyperinflation and currency risk in some parts of the world. That's a whole different ballgame.
A very different and difficult reality. When your currency is rapidly losing value, traditional saving in cash is undermined.
So what can people do then?
The article suggests exploring more complex strategies, and this really depends on local rules and requires careful research. Things like saving in a more staple foreign currency, if allowed.
Or investing in assets that might keep pace with inflation.
Potentially, yeah. Assets like real estate, maybe broad market index funds or inflation-protected bonds. But again, these are complex and need careful consideration and possibly professional advice.
Definitely not simple solutions. And finally, it touched on mental health and financial trauma.
Yes, a really important point. Past negative experiences with money or ongoing financial stress and anxiety can create huge emotional barriers to saving.
Makes it hard to even engage with your finances.
Absolutely. The article recommends seeking help if needed, like from a financial therapist or counselor. And importantly, being kind to yourself.
Starting small, celebrating progress.
Exactly. Acknowledge that it's a journey, especially if there's past trauma involved. Start with tiny steps and celebrate every win, no matter how small it seems.
That's a powerful reminder. Our relationship with money is complex, emotional. Okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, looking back at the side-by-side article in our chat, what are the absolute key things you want someone listening to take away?
I think the biggest thing the article drives home is that saving isn't just math. It's really a lifestyle shift, a mindset shift.
Right.
So if you've struggled with saving, please hear this. It doesn't mean you're bad with money. It likely means you're navigating a system, a world, that often makes spending incredibly easy and saving, well, kind of hard.
That's a really validating point. It's not just you.
Not at all. But the empowering part, the really encouraging message from the article is that you can change your financial story. You absolutely can.
Oh.
By understanding those psychological traps we talked about, by using the right tools and systems like automation and budgeting apps, by setting those clear, smart goals that actually mean something to you.
And taking action. Consistently.
Yes, consistent action, even if you start small. That's how you break free from feeling stuck and start building that more secure future. you have the power to do that.
Love that. And the article gives some immediate first steps, right?
Yeah, 2 really practical things to do, like today. First, download a budgeting app. Just get one on your phone. Explore it. Second, set a tiny savings goal for the next week. Maybe just $20 or $50, something achievable.
Get that first win. Build momentum.
Exactly. That initial success can be incredibly motivating.
And if people want to go deeper, SideBySide has more resources.
They do. There's a whole video series on mastering personal finance mentioned, and they post some great follow-up questions to think about.
Like, what are the best side hustles for 2025? How do you create a budget that actually works for your life?
And that classic dilemma. Should you pay off debt first or save first? What's the right order?
Lots to chew on there. Really valuable questions to explore next.
Indeed. These are all critical pieces of the puzzle for long-term financial well-being. Definitely encourage listeners to keep exploring those.
So make sure you stay tuned to SideBySide for more great content on personal finance, money mindset, and smarter living. This has been incredibly insightful. Thanks so much for taking this deep dive with us today.